Hi there. Welcome to another blogging video as we continue to make progress in our journey to start a blog that actually makes good money. My name is Akimini Robert, and I'm here to take you through the process of starting your blog from nothing to where it can actually make you money. In today's video, we'll be talking about domain names. What is a domain name? After picking a niche for your blog, the next thing you want to do is to choose a domain name for that niche, for that website. So what is a domain name, and how can you pick the right domain name for your blog or online business? All right, so let's get right into it. What is a domain name? A domain name, according to Cloudflare, a domain name is a unique, easy to remember address used to access websites such as, example is google.com and facebook.com. So after picking a niche, you want to pick a domain name. So if somebody wants to visit your website, what they type into a browser is what you call the domain name. They type the domain name into the browser to actually visit your website. But then again, what is a browser? All right, let's just look at examples of a browser. What is a browser? Now, a browser, simply put, is what people will use in accessing your website. It's what people use to access content on the World Wide Web. It is the software that people use. Examples of a browser: this is like the Microsoft Edge or the Chrome browser. I believe you've seen this icon before on your smartphone. This is a browser. This is a browser. Yes, maybe Safari or Firefox. Yeah, this is the Mozilla Firefox. So these are browsers, and there are a lot of browsers. There is the UC browser, there is Opera Mini, there is the whole lot of browsers, and this is what people can use to access your website. Once they type in your domain name into that browser, it takes them to your website. So that unique name is what we call a domain name. It is an easy to remember address that people type into their browsers to actually come to your website. All right, so now what are the examples of domain names? Let's just quickly take a look at a few examples of domain names to help us understand it more. So an example of a domain name is google.com. all right, something like google.com. right, google.com is a domain name. Now, just to clear things up, this is a browser, right? On a laptop, this is a browser, and right here at the top, all right, right there at the top is your URL address bar, right? This is your URL address bar, and then this is the search bar, because some people try to type in domain names here. If you type in a domain name here, it will easily take you to the search engine results page. All right, so where you type in a domain name is at the top here. All right, google.com at the top there, and then it will take you straight to the Google website. All right, so an example of a domain name is like google.com. I'm just using this bar. This is a search bar. I'm just using this for for illustrations for this examples. All right, this is not where you type in a domain name. This is where you type in search terms like how to train a dog. This is where you type in your search queries and all of that. And Yes, but right here is where you have, at the top here is where you have your address bar. That is where people enter your website address to actually come to your website. So we have things like facebook.com, that's Facebook's domain name. All right, we have things like apple.com, that is Apple's domain name. We have things like samsung.com, that is Samsung's domain name. And we have things like cnn.com, that's CNN's domain name. All right, so for your website, you could decide to use your name, you could decide to use anything, but for the purpose of the blog that you'll be creating, you will have to pick a domain name that actually works well for the niche you choose for your blog. And just in a second, we will actually learn how to do that. So this is what a domain name is in simple terms. This is what a domain name is. But just to clear something up, there is domain name and there is URL. So what is the difference? This could get a little tricky, a little confusing. What is the difference between a domain name and a URL? All right, so in the simplest forms, a domain name is your domain name is your simple.com, all right, your website name.com, like cnn.com, like google.com, like apple.com. That is a domain name. But when you're talking about a URL, you're talking about like a protocol, an address that comes with a lot more information than just the .com. All right, so when you're talking about a URL, a URL actually has the protocol, right? It has the domain name and it also has the path on the website, and I'll explain that right here. This is the protocol. This is a hypertext transfer protocol, right? And this one is secure, that's why you have the S after it. This is a protocol. Sometimes you'll see a www, other times you will not see that. That www is a subdomain, all right? And when you're setting up your website, it is advisable that if the domain name is too long, you should set your home page and your entire website to not have the www, because at that point it makes the whole URL too long. All right, so if someone asks you for your domain name, before that, there is the path here. All right, this is the path. In a website, all right, there are lots of pages on a website, such that if someone comes to your website and say you are Apple, you have iPads, you have iPhones. Let me not use that Apple example. Say you are a writer and then you write about smartphones, for example. All right, if you're writing about smartphones, if someone comes to your website, you won't just scatter everything everywhere. Your site will have a structure where someone can come. Where can they contact you? Where can they find information on the several kinds of smartphones that you're writing about? Where can they find information on Samsung? Where can they find information on an Apple smartphone? Where can they find information on Nokia phones, on Infinix, and the rest of the smartphones? So you will have to have a path for those smartphones. All right, this is where you have things like slash and then Samsung slash Apple slash whatever else you have on your website. And if you want to lead people to your contact page, you have like slash contact, you have like slash about me or something like that. So this is what you have in a URL, whereas a domain name only has your domain name. So if someone asks you for your domain name, you just give the .com or .org or .net or whatever. And then let me just say this, for your blog, it is advisable that you pick a .com, all right, because all the other ones like .org, it's mostly used by organizations, and .edu, that's used by schools, all right. So your blog is better if it has the .com as the extension. That .com is known as an extension, your domain name extension. So this is a simple domain name, but this is a URL with the protocol, the domain name, and the path. Let's just see what that looks like on the Apple website. All right. So yes, this is the Apple website. Okay, and here you have the domain name in the address bar, apple.com, and then on this website you can see Apple has a lot of products that they sell to its customers, like store, like the Mac, the iPad. Excuse me, that store is not part of it. They have like the Mac, the iPad, the iPhone, the watch, and other products. And then they have this store if you just want to get to the Apple store, and it also have TVs and stuff like that. So this is a big website, all right. So you want to be able to direct people to where they can find what they want. So if I come to this website and I am looking for an iPad, it wouldn't make any sense for everything to just be scattered around watches, iPhones, and the rest of the stuff, right? I would need a section where I can find a particular set of products. So for example, if you go to this iPad page, okay, if you go to the page for the iPad, you will actually find everything about iPads. Now notice the address bar right here. It is apple.com/iPad, and then this is the URL, the protocol, the www subdomain. All right, this is, yes, Apple is free to use this www because they don't have like such a long domain name, so it won't affect them in any way. And then there is the path, which we talked about. This is the iPad session. So everything happening here is the iPad. So right now what you see is that Apple has a big website, and they have wow, oh man, wow. Let's not look at that for too long. Yes, so they have this big website, and they have different sections inside one big website, and this is the iPad session. All right, let's go back to the home page. So this is the home page, and then if you want to visit any of the sessions, you can actually click on that and go to those sessions. When we're setting up websites, you will learn how to set up all of these things and get yourself a beautiful website. So what are the things that you should consider when picking a domain name? What should you consider? You don't just go about picking anything you feel like. There are things you should actually put in the consideration, and the first of them is that your domain name should be simple, right? Don't go and pick a very difficult domain name, right? Try to take a simple domain name. For example, like apple.com, like facebook.com, google.com, digitalwebbees.com, cnn.com, right? These are very easy, simple domain names that anybody can use. All right, so don't try to pick a complex, difficult domain name. Secondly, your domain name should be brandable and easy to remember. All right, in our world today, it is easier to trust a brand than to trust any random person or company. What did I say? It's easier to trust a brand than to trust any random person. All right. So what you want to do is that you want to come out like a brand. All right. It should be brandable. Want to come out like a brand. 2 names, 2 short sweet names, 3 short sweet names, like like we have right here. Try to pick a domain name that's like 1 name or a single word, sorry, not 1 name, a single word or 2 words or 3 words. That's just okay. I do not recommend that you go beyond that. Some people actually go beyond that. They have more than they have like 4 to 5 words in a domain name, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is not the recommended practice. Take a short domain name, 2 to 3 words, and just go with that. I have actually seen very successful websites using 4 and the rest of the domain names. For example, Michelle's website is makingsenseofsense.com. makingsenseofsense.com. Those are 4 words, but if you notice something, this is very easy to remember. All right, it is so easy to remember. makingsenseofsense.com. It's so easy to remember. So that's the trick right there. All right, so these are the things you want to consider when picking a domain name. Make sure it's simple, and then make sure it's brandable. All right, something that you can actually brand. Can you pick a logo for this domain name and then use the name, brand it, and all of that? Is it easy for you to brand? Because if you go out there and use your 3 names, that will be very difficult to brand and very difficult to be for someone to remember. Right, so make it brandable and easy to remember or spell. All right, so some people go about using their village, their native names. This will make it difficult for people to use your product, for people to use that domain name. All right, because there are a lot of people who don't come from your place, and using your local or native name will be difficult for people to actually put in their brains, because yes, you should understand how it is, but consider domain names like Apple, consider domain names like Samsung, like Facebook. Wherever you are from, whichever part of the world you come from, you can easily make use of this domain name. Okay, and then the other thing you have to check, so try to pick a domain name that's brandable and easy to remember. The other thing you want to check is it used by another company? Is it used by another company? This is the stuff you want to also try to check, because this is one of the mistakes we make when trying to pick domain names. You have to go online and check. So you want to do something like Supri Foods. All right, just go online and check for it. Can you imagine? I didn't even know that existed, but look at this. There is Supri Foods. Okay, there is Supri Foods. There's Supri Foods. So when you pick a domain name, before you actually pick a domain name, this is what you should check. Is it already used by a brand? Because obviously this is like someone's business. It is easily a brand, right? Is it used by someone else? Is it used by a brand? So this is what you want to check. before you make use of a domain name. Some people just pick domain names, they go ahead and buy it, and then only to realize that it has been used by other brands. Sometimes those domain names have been trademarked, right? So it becomes a sticky issue. It becomes something that you have to deal with and work with and all of that. And depending on the nature of business, you may have to let go of the domain name completely. So before you actually make use of a domain name, you have to go on Google and check if it has been used by another brand. And then something that I want us to actually remember about domain names: is it brandable? Part of the reasons why your domain name should be brandable is because in future you may decide to sell your website or online business. So if you do something like ekeminirobert.com, no matter how good your website is, it's going to be difficult for you to sell the content. It doesn't matter whether you were writing about clothes or shoes or whatever. When someone else wants to buy that online business, they would have loved something that was simply a brand name. You can easily sell worldclassshoes.com. I mean, something that's not tied to someone's name or business or something, but it's brandable. You can easily sell such a domain name compared to how it would be for you to sell a website that you started with your name. So these are the things you want to consider. And lastly, is it available? This domain name you want to make use of, is it available? So who are the guys that sell domain names? They are called domain name registrars. Domain name registrars. These are the guys that manage domain names. So if you need a domain name, these are the guys you go to, and then they will sell you a domain name as long as it has not been used by another person already. So we have registrar examples like Namecheap. Namecheap is a registrar. We have GoDaddy. All right, that is another registrar. And we have lots of registrars on the internet. We have Cloudflare. Yeah, Cloudflare is now a registrar. You can actually buy your domain name from Cloudflare. So right now we want to use Namecheap. Okay, so once you pick your domain name, you want to come back to Namecheap and check if it is available. For example, Supri Foods, and then you click on the search button. So that is how you check if your domain name is available. If a domain name is available for you to actually purchase. Okay, like I said, don't buy a domain name that has been used by another brand already. All right, Supri Foods is available. I wouldn't buy this. Why? Because when we checked for Supri Foods, it was a name that has already been used by another brand, and there is a good chance there are some trademark things that cover some of these names and some of these words that you may want to use. But what this is showing us is that this domain is actually available and I can go ahead and buy it. All right, let's check another domain name that is not available. Digital Biz Web. Digital Biz Web. All right, we have already purchased that domain name, and this is what happens when you choose a domain name that is not available. All right, so the .com is not available. That is why they are showing us .digital, right? So if I just go ahead and do something like let me just go ahead and do something like digitalbizweb.com and actually search for it. We have already bought we have already purchased that domain name and it is no longer available. So I want to show you what happens when a domain name is no longer available. Either they will show you a different extension, like this .digital, it's a different extension, .org, it's another extension, .net, .ai. These are different extensions, but for the .com that we are looking for, it is not available. It had been registered in 2022. Okay, so that just means that it is not available. So you have to pick something else. Let's say you are writing about fashion, all right, fashion, and looking for something in the fashion niche, in the fashion industry, and then you try to pick a domain name, and then you go for something like superclothes.com. I mean, I'm not sure how that sounds, but just make do with me on this one. Yes, just make do with me on this one. So we are looking for something like superclothes.com. So is it available? Well, I'm starting to think it is not available. So superclothes.com has been taken already, and it was registered in 2017. Now, the thing we have to realize is that there are a lot of online businesses right now, and some of the super cool domain names that you would want to make use of may have been taken either by the domain name registrars or by individuals. All right, so these simple brandable domain names are in high demand, and there is a chance that you may not find something very simple that you are looking for. So the thing you want to do is that you want to go from 2 words to 3 words if what you're looking for is not available. All right, you can go from 2 words to 3 words, and wow, see what just happened. Super Hot Clothes is available. You can actually buy that from Namecheap. Please stay away from using hyphens with your domain names, because there's not a lot of people out there who will want to type in a hyphen on their smartphones to visit a domain name. All right, there are a lot of companies out there, right, struggling to get people's attention. So the last thing you want to do is to make your online business difficult for people to access. Remember, your domain name is what people will type into their browsers to get to your website. So another thing you want to do is, for example, you want to go into the clothing niche, but Super Hot Clothes. Okay, let's just go back to Super Clothes. All right, Super Clothes, they already told us it's not available. So what you can do is you can actually start looking for the synonyms of those words. You can actually come here and do something like clothes synonym. Okay, and then all right, super fabric, you can try to check if super fabric is available. Super textile. So these are the kind of things you can do to actually check and get a super cool domain name that is brandable but is still in your niche and is still closer to something it's still in your niche and it's still closer to something you would like to use as your domain name. All right, another option, you could try super fabrics. I really don't like doing this. Okay, I really don't like doing that, so I could try super fabrics and see if it's available. Yes, seriously, you don't want to get mixed up with something else that is not you. Okay, so this is why I try to stay away from you know things that are too complex. Now Super Fabrics is available on Namecheap, but guess what, it is $3,695. all right, since this is a brandable domain name, it has been purchased already by God knows who, and they're willing to sell it back to you for $3,000. So that is not a good option. We want a domain name that's simple and just cost like $6, like $6. So that won't work. So the next thing we want to do, I just want us to clearly do something. Now when we went for 3 words, we were able to get a domain name that is available. The next thing we could do is check for synonyms of super. Splendid, fine, dazzling fabrics. All right, yeah, you can try to do something like, remember we still have other words already, so you can do stuff like dash fabrics or dash clothes. All right, you can do something like dash clothes. We just want something short, sweet and simple that people can easily type into their address bar and visit your website. All right, I'm just sharing one of my secrets here. All right, all of my domain names are just cool, simple and super sweet. I don't care whatever niche you take me into. So this guy is available for just $5.98. That's close.com. So that's how you pick a simple brandable domain name. But just before we start celebrating, we just have to go to Google and see, do we have Dash Clothes as a company? Do we have Dash Clothes as a brand, as a person, or whatever that is prominent and could be a problem to our business? No, we don't. And that is a super cool domain name that you can use for your online business. Okay, so yes guys, that is that for domain names. And please, if you learned anything, don't forget to hit the like button and also to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on the good stuffs about blogging. So once again, thank you for watching. Do take care of yourself.